I call to order the Wednesday, August 28th, 2024 public meeting of the Jenkintown Borough Council. I'm going to ask Mayor Lerman to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Before I move on to the roll call, I do want to note that prior to this council meeting, we did hold an executive session to discuss matters of personnel. I will now move on to the roll call. Councilor Khalil.
Here.
Councilor McCaffey.
Here.
Councilor Bartlett. Here. Councilor Narva, she did ask to be excused. Councilor Ballard. Here. Councilor Connors here. Councilor Saltesiak.
Here.
Councilor Panko.
Here.
Councilor Lewis.
Here.
Councilor Spindler. Here. Councilor Bruno.
Here.
And Councilor Lamarlo.
Here.
Manager Locke, please record a quorum. I need a motion for the approval of minutes dated July 17th and July 24th.
Moved.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Are there any comments or questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Manager Locke, please record a unanimous vote. Councilor Ballard.
I move for approval of the payroll dated July 26, August 9, and August 23rd in the amount of $250,644.15 and invoices totaling $155,853.82.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Are there any comments or questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Manager Locke, please record a unanimous vote. At this time, I'm going to open it up to public comment. We do have two hearings following public comment, one for the liquor license transfer and the conditional use hearing for 400 York Road. If there are any comments pertaining to that, I would ask that you wait until after the hearing, because I will open it back up. So if there's any public comment pertaining to anything else, now would be the time. Ms. Riley.
Mary Jane Riley.
And it is public comment, and I'm also, there's a 2-minute time limit.
It was 3.
It's 2. And the clock is ticking.
Okay, here we go. I was wondering what the cost, the percentage of, we get back to Park Mobile.
It's just as a reminder, it's public comment, it's not Q&A. And the clock is ticking.
Excuse me? I didn't hear you.
It's public comment.
I know, I'm making the
It's not-
comment that I am wondering. Thank you. Also, I would hope that the executive sessions that have not been published on the agenda prior to that happening are added. And I have a concern about the leadership council, no offense, but they seem to be a little bit less transparent. In April, Chief talked about doing a cost analysis, a cost benefit analysis of the police department, and the next week it's like, oh, there's this great thing called DCED. They can do it for free, and isn't that wonderful? And maybe we should talk to them. When in fact, you had been in talks with them since February and had indeed met with them in person. And for some reason, you all feel like it needs to be a sneaky thing. That's it. Aside from the fact that council needs to do something about double parking because people are getting tickets dropping off their kids, but FedEx isn't getting a ticket for dropping off packages.
Thank you. Is there any other public comment? Manager Locke, do you have any public comment on social media or by way of email?
I have no email, nothing on Facebook.
Okay, thank you. So I will move on to the public hearings and I will turn it over to our solicitor, Mr. Hitchens.
Thank you, President Connors. So at this time, we've got 2 public hearings tonight. I'm going to formally open up the public hearing for the liquor license transfer request by Giant Company LLC. I believe we have representatives from Giant here tonight. First, before we have anybody identified, so the liquor code requires that the municipality hold a public hearing prior to making a determination with regard to a applicant's request to do a transfer of a liquor license. In this instance here, as I'm sure Giant will explain, they're looking to transfer a existing restaurant liquor license that's for a location in Upper Moreland Township to the borough of Jenkintown for use by Giant at the new Giant location. This is an opportunity for any members of the public to provide comment with regard to any concerns that they may have regarding the transfer. Following the public hearing, I would suggest that we would close the hearing, but then council could take action on the request. There is listed on your packet, and there is a proposed resolution. So at this time, since this is being stenographically recorded, I would ask that the representatives of Giant Company, you just stand up and identify yourself for the record.
Hi, good evening. Ellen Freeman, Clarity and O'Hara.
Scott Schaefer, brand compliance manager for the Giant.
And Ms. Friedman, I'm guessing you're the attorney for Giant, right?
That's correct.
If you want to hand your card over to the stenographer. And if you wouldn't mind, can you just give a summary of exactly, maybe I did enough, but if you want to give a summary to council as to what you're looking to do, and that would be great.
Sure, absolutely. Well, thank you for having us here this evening. As I mentioned, I'm an attorney with Flaherty and O'Hara. We do liquor licensing across the state. It's all we do. So if you have any additional questions about liquor laws in Pennsylvania or how Giant operates its liquor licenses, please feel free to let me know. This is not Giant's first grocery store that will have a liquor license. They currently operate 163 liquor licenses across Pennsylvania. And they've had these liquor licenses since about 2009. So they have a number of years under their belts selling alcohol to their very loyal customer base. Over the years, I'm very pleased to report that they have a very minimal citation history. That's 163 stores operating over a decade. And it's a great record. And I believe that record is in place because of the safety policies that they put into place at each of their stores. So if you've been to any of the Giants with a liquor license and you've purchased alcohol there, you probably noticed that they have a 100% carding policy. So no matter what your age, you are requested for identification. That identification is then scanned through a card scanner transaction device, which is just a second protocol in place to ensure that that ID is valid and that individual is a secondary check to make sure that individual is 21 years of age or older. In addition to that, all of the associates that work within the licensed premises will have gone through the responsible alcohol management program. In addition to that, there is a manager solely for that licensed area where the alcohol is sold, who will go through the owner manager training and will be responsible for those employees there. So as you can see, there's a lot that goes into this small area. I do have an exhibit this evening. We can just label it A1. It's a floor plan of the entire grocery store. And then the second page is a floor plan of just what we call the licensed premises. So if you have been into a grocery store with a liquor license, you'll notice that it varies where the alcohol is displayed. But grocery stores are not permitted to just have them in any aisle or have them throughout the entire grocery store. They must apply to the Liquor Control Board with a designated spot for that product. So with that, I'll pass this out so you guys can have it in front of you. Let me take your first two pages and pass them down. Yeah.
Thank you. So while that is being handed out, I guess first, if Mr. President, you want to have, if council has any questions or any comments?
Yes, Councilor Saltizia.
My comment is that I can truly attest to being carded every time. Because I do grocery pickup and I have pretty much the same, a very nice young man, and he says to me, Mrs. Saltiziak, I'm sorry, I have to scan your card again. So they do, and that's at Roslyn, which I love that store, but I can't wait to shop at the One Chicken.
Thank you.
I asked this, out of ignorance, but I'd like to know, why is it that you're requesting a transfer rather than a new separate license?
Yeah, it's a great question. So in Pennsylvania, restaurant liquor licenses and what are called eating plates licenses, which are just beer only, they're sold on a quota basis. So each county is given a certain amount of liquor licenses based on their population. So it's one liquor license per 3,000 residents in the county. That quota is then further whittled down by municipality. So Jenkintown Borough, sorry, I forgot my notes on Jenkintown Borough, but I think that your population was maybe around 12,000, is that sounding right? Nope.
So,
Not
was that not-
Jenkintown. Under 5,000, thank you. So under 5,000, that means Jenkintown Borough is permitted one retail liquor license. Anything over one, you have to request a hearing. And if you can't find a liquor license within that municipality to purchase, you have to find one in the same county to transfer in, and that's the requirement for this hearing this evening.
Any other questions or comments? Oh, I get that.
Liquor license, does that include, distilled liquor?
Yeah, that's, I'm glad you brought that up. So Giant will be offering at all of their 163 locations, actually the majority of them offer both beer and wine. And so they're permitted to sell 192 ounces of beer to go in a single transaction and 3,000 milliliters of wine to go. Very recently, the liquor code was amended to allow for what the state is calling ready to drink cocktails, RTDs. And so it is allowing for restaurant liquor licensees to sell 192 fluid ounces of ready to drink cocktails, which are spirit-based cocktails.
No, but no bottles of brandy or.
No bottles of brandy.
I didn't have.
Yeah. No.
I mean, if you bring water for me, so that'll be good.
You'll still have to go to the state store for that.
Any other questions, comments? Or- Okay, so I open it up. Oh, I open it up to the public?
Yes, that'd be
Okay.
good. Yep.
I'm gonna open it up to the. Okay, I'll open it up to the public, then I'll jump to the screen. Is there anybody in the public present that has any questions or comments? Okay, and apparently somebody on the screen has their hand up.
We had somebody that said they had a question right after you stopped asking questions and said she will hold as you directed till after the hearing. But then,
Okay,
but then made a comment. Council should pass this case as Jenkintown needs the money.
thank you for that comment. Is there any other comments you're aware of, Manager Locke?
Did you see me on Facebook?
I can't see that Facebook.
Okay.
All right, should we?
Is Jean wanting to comment on this? She has her hand up.
That hand has been up. She said she'll comment after the hearings, but she did comment what I just read.
Okay.
Okay.
So with,
Maureen Luchek has a question.
Maureen Luchek has. a question.
Maureen, we're on Maureen, then we'll go, okay, so what's Maureen's question?
Will Giant allow Uber to pick up the liquor?
Currently, no.
Go back.
Okay,
So with respect to wine and ready to drink cocktails, you have to be on the premises because there is a carting requirement with those sales. So you have to be on the premises to buy it, negating the opportunity to be at home and have it delivered.
thank you.
Thank you.
And once more to what we had discussed before, I'm thrilled to death that Giant is here. I'm a big supporter. For religious reasons, I can't remove it on this.
Okay, thank you.
so with that, Mr. President, I will close the hearing. And at this time, like I had mentioned earlier, on your agenda under order of business is with regard to this resolution 2024-22. If council wants to take action on that while we're still on the record.
Sure, Councilor Ballard, that's you.
Resolution 2024-22 approving the transfer of liquor license. I make a motion to approve resolution 2024-22 approving the transfer of restaurant liquor license number R-19288 into the borough of Jenkintown for use by the Giant Company LLC.
I have a motion and a second. Are there any comments or questions?
Yeah, I'd just say thank you for the layout of the store. Now we can start memorizing it.
Yeah. We're all very excited for you.
Great news. Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, so.
And please note that Ms. Khalil has recused herself from the vote.
Okay, so Madam Chair, please be procured 10 yes votes and 1 recusal.
Yep.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
both for coming in.
So, at this time, we can move on to our next hearing for tonight. So at this time, I'm going to open up the conditional use hearing for the application submitted for 400 York Road. So council, well, I guess at first I should have the applicant's attorney identify themselves. Go ahead.
Good evening, council. Christopher Dean on behalf of Midgard Properties and Jeff Lustig.
Thank you, Mr. Dean. So at this time, before I mark exhibits, I thought I might give everyone a quick refresher about what a conditional use application is, and as well as for the public. So a conditional use application is essentially a zoning application, but it's a zoning application that comes before you as the governing body rather than before the zoning hearing board. So in this instance, the applicant has submitted a conditional use request in order to seek, sure I'm reading it correctly here. Seek conditional use relief under section 18141B1 in order to convert space on the second floor of the existing building into 6 residential apartments. I'm going to mark a bunch of exhibits for the board or for the body so that they can consider it. After I've marked it, we'll turn it over to Mr. Dean so that Mr. Dean can present his case and any witnesses that he would like to present. I should note that if you would like, you can request party status with regard to the application. Party status essentially allows you to be a participant in which you get to ask questions, present your own case. Please be aware, you don't need to be a participant in order to give public comment. At the end of every hearing, the body must take public comment from all members of the public, and that is a part of their consideration as to whether to grant or not grant the conditional use requested. So maybe it'd make more sense for me to ask now, does anybody want to ask for party status with regard to this application? Hearing none, I'm going to go ahead and mark the council's exhibits. So as B1, that will stand for Borough 1, this will be a copy of the legal notice for tonight's hearing. B2 is a copy of the posting certification for tonight's hearing. B3 is a copy of the mailed notice along with the list of addresses for those who received it for tonight's hearing. B4 is a copy of the conditional use application as submitted by the applicant. B5 is a 2-page plan that I'm calling a plan, but it's actually titled feasibility study on the document itself. And B6 is a copy of photographs, presumably with regard or showing the property, but again, I'll let the applicant explain that. And then finally, B7 is a copy of this board's prior decision and order from 2019 that granted conditional use approval for the same property to convert the second and third floor for a residential apartment use. I thought that would be useful for both the board to consider its prior determination as well as, if it helps the applicant in order to present its case. So with that, I'll turn it over to you, Mr. Dean.
Thank you, thank you. And good evening, everyone. What's great, this is our conditional use application for 6 apartments on the second floor of 400 Old York Road, a building everyone knows, the old Wells Fargo building. The layout, as on the plans, will be 6 apartments. There's gonna be 3 1-bedrooms of roughly 900 square feet and 3 2-bedrooms between 1,000 and 1,200 square feet. Each apartment has their own private access on the lobby, own heating and cooling, electrical meters, and washer and dryer in every unit. As mentioned in 2019, there was a prior conditional use application granted for 5 units, and they are on the 3rd floor. There is currently a dance studio in the basement, and on the 2nd floor, there was a recently zoning board variance granted for an early learning center throughout the 1st floor. My client understands the importance of parking in the town center district, and we have 19 available spots in the rear parking lot. We have 9 off-street parking spots available on West Avenue, and that is identified in, I believe it was the picture exhibit, previously identified.
B6.
B6, all of the off-street parking available. Additionally, should it be necessary, from 6 p.m. to 7 a.m. daily, my client does have the option of utilizing 8 spots in the Buckets parking lot. So total, we have 36 spots that are available. And the benefit of the commercial spaces is that there is no conflict in time. When the dance studio opens is when the daycare closes. So you're really only gonna have one commercial presence at any given time, and then the residence is upstairs. My client takes great pride in this historic building. The design aesthetics are consistent with the already approved 5 units. We do plan on improving the aesthetics of the grounds, consistent with the planning commission desired when we met with the planning commission last week. And we do anticipate in a closed playground on turf for the daycare and general improvements to the green space surrounding the playground and grounds in general. I do have, unfortunately, my color ink ran out, but I do have I could submit it as B7, just a 3D rendering of what the playground will look like, and you can see the greenscape mentioned in front of the building.
So I'm gonna mark that as B8,
Yeah.
the 3D rendering. If you want to hand it up and then they can pass it around.
Now, during construction, all the mechanical equipment will be stored on the roof of the building, so this will not be as an invasive, destructive, and noisy, a disruption for the neighborhood during business hours. We believe the project is to the code, specifically with a comprehensive plan. It doesn't result in increased traffic congestion or hazard, doesn't pose a severe safety risk. It's consistent use for a town center district as well, with 2 commercial spaces on the ground floor and 2 residential on the top. And in fact, it's only add residents to be more impressed with and become customers of the growing Jenkintown commerce scene. And with that, I would just like to have my client testify and got my testimony.
What do you want to do?
So let's first have Mr. Lustig. First, let's have you sworn in. Raise your right hand. You solemnly swear or affirm something about to give this proceeding is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Yes,
And just state your full name for the record.
Jeff Lustig,
Thank you.
All right, Jeff, are you the owner of Midgard Properties?
yes,
Okay, and are you Midgard Properties, the owner of 400 Old Grove?
Yeah.
Okay, how long have you owned the property?
since 2018.
Okay, what do you plan on, did you hear the testimony I provided?
Yeah.
Okay, you adopt my testimony?
Yeah.
Okay. And if you could, in your own words, what efforts are you gonna make to beautify the grounds?
We will have a landscape package to go beyond the playground, and we discussed with the planning commission about dressing up the parking lot area where there's just a grass, like slate hill. So I think originally there was like hollies or hedges, but we're gonna make a sitting area, which we wanted to do in 2019 before COVID came, but now the playground's there, but we'll take care of the whole side of West Avenue. And keep the building as beautiful as we can.
Planting trees?
We will plant trees in the front. I think we want to take down one of the older ones that are out, but I don't know if we have to talk to the tree committee about that on 611. And we'll plant new trees on West Ave. Just the locust trees are overgrown, just out of control.
And to the extent possible, do you have any plans on restoring and repairing the clock?
So we had a survey done on the clock in 2021, I think. And we have an estimate back from 2022 for about $165,000 to restore it. They've done like kind and exact kind clocks. We're trying to seek a grant for that. We had reached out to some grant writers, but it's a 9-month process. And I think it goes up to like New Hampshire or something, but that would be like unbelievable.
I have nothing further.
So at this time, it would be for council to ask questions. I did have a few questions, Mr. President. If you want me to wait till the end, I can.
I know you can go, you can start.
Okay, so just to make sure the record is clear, and Jeff, feel free to answer this if it's easier. Now, you previously got approval for apartments, and you're asking for more apartments on the second floor, but can you explain what you mean by second floor? Because I think there's something unique there that should be on the record about that.
Yeah, so Wells Fargo, when they vacated the space, had 40-foot ceiling space. So what we did is we installed a second floor level to create a 12-foot space for the learning care center and then apartments above. It was the only way that, we could figure out how to monetize losing such a large tenant and creating not so much density with venues and other crazy nonsense that were coming and knocking on the door.
So would it be fair to say then in 2019, when there was reference to the second floor, that's not the same second floor that we're talking about tonight? Because a new floor has been created in
The new
between.
floor has been created.
Okay. Now, with regard to the parking, I think your council had mentioned about the 9, I thought he called it off-street parking spaces in the photos. Did you mean these are the 9 on-street parking spaces,
On
right?
the metered spots along the West Avenue.
And then there are 19 off-street available, correct? And then there are 8 additional spots that were located at buckets?
In the lot across from us that we could,
Do you have like some sort of written
we
agreement
have
with
an
them?
agreement for the learning care center. That we would extend to. The tenants.
Um,
And is that a nominal fee?
It is.
Speaking of your tenants, have you talked to your existing tenants about what you're proposing? And have they given you any feedback as to what their thoughts are?
They're excited, yeah.
Also, speaking of people being excited, did you talk to any of the neighboring property owners about what it is you're proposing and what was their response?
So, yeah, I would say the neighbors too, if you're looking at the bank if you're looking at the rear of the bank, to the right, the jeweler. And the first 4 or 5 houses I talk to all the time, there's no pushback. They're happy to see it's not empty. Maybe they'll miss an empty parking lot. Because they park there, but now they're happy to see, that there's gonna be new life in this property and it'll just carry itself on. I mean, the residential density is necessary to carry all the properties on the corridor. You just need that offset.
And I guess, and maybe this is a better question for you, Manager Locke. Will this need to go through land development or is this just permitting if it's approved?
Just permitting.
Okay. So Mr. Lustig, since there is no land development process involved and you talked about doing a lot of like landscaping work or proposed landscaping work, if council were inclined to approve it, would you have any objection to any special condition that you would perform the landscaping that you had described as part of the
Absolutely, no,
application?
that could be added, yeah.
I didn't have any other questions. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilor Khalid.
No, I just want to know how old is the clock?
What's that?
How old is the clock?
The clock, I believe, is 125 years old. It's all, I mean, the survey is like, it's crazy how much time it took. But, yeah,
Thank you.
it's not gonna be fixed before the 250th anniversary.
Have you never talked to the Old York Road Historical Society and that?
About, just, they have great pictures of it, but. Yeah.
If I could just build on that, they might be a good partner for the grant.
Yeah, it's possible. Yeah, I mean, there's definitely grants available.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of, I guess, finding the right person to write it.
Can we just fit it with a digital club?
Yeah, why not?
Councilor Marlowe had a question.
You said that, along West Avenue, there's meters, all those meters are designated for that building?
No,
That
street
was-
parking.
The park,
No,
No.
no, they did not say that they were designated. I just asked about that. Those were the metered spaces he's referring to. I think they're just trying to point out that there are metered spaces available.
designated for that.
No,
Okay, thank you.
I apologize if I created that confusion.
Councilor Bruno, then Councilor Lewis.
Just a quick question, looking at the plan, I don't understand, it looks great, by the way. I don't understand, if this is the second floor, it says 1-bedroom loft, 2-bedroom loft, like. how does
So
that-
what you'll do is you'll enter, it's a walk up. So you'll walk up to the second floor and you'll have a center corridor in the building. And you'll enter into a kitchen. And as you exit the kitchen, you'll be in the living area, which will be 20-foot ceilings. And the bedrooms will be loft style looking down
Oh,
onto, sort of like a New York kind of like warehouse kind of deal, but we did that in the church. It came out amazing.
very cool.
And it's a real open space. It's not like you're not gonna raise a family there because there's no walls, so.
Councilor Lewis.
So to make sure I've got this in my mind straight, you already have a floor with 5 apartments and people residing.
Yes, sir, yes.
But that's what's presently quote unquote the second floor. You're building a floor underneath that or
The apartments are on the 3rd floor, the existing apartments.
so there's already a second floor, but no apartments. is what you're saying.
Right.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah, and you can't see the 3rd floor from the street because of the pilasters.
Right, right.
Like, you can't even tell there's.
Okay. So, and the access that all of your tenants would have, I know there's an elevator, but you say it's also a walk up. Would the walk up be for everybody or just?
No, so the way, the elevator will be for the third floor tenants only.
Okay,
And you'll go to the second door in the same lobby, which will have a buzzer system on, and that'll be a walk up to the new second floor level.
okay, and I don't mean it,
No, it's like,
I'm not trying to be snarky at all about, but just asking it out of an abundance and making sure. And everything would be in compliance with fire codes, because I mean, that building is built as a bank, there are no.
Yes.
fire
no, we're fully
extinguishers.
sprinklered. We sprinklered in 2019, and we'll, you know, the code will be that we have to add sprinklers in all these apartments. Hardwired fire everywhere. I mean, it'll be 100% code for that township.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
And Mr. Lewis, if it helps make you feel any better, typically the council's standard condition is that they have to comply with all applicable codes, which would include the fire code. If you were to grant approval, that's usually one of the standard conditions.
Councilor Val.
Okay, more of a comment than a question. It'd be great if, now that all the Wells Fargo nomenclature is off the building, the community could start referring to it as the Jenkintown Bank and Trust or something like that. You know, I mean, Wells Fargo,
That is up on the top.
yeah, it is. Yeah, that's what it was.
Yeah.
You know, and I think, you know, we should drop the Wells Fargo stuff and go with what it was.
I think, well,
Yeah.
it'll probably be called the Jenkintown Bank and Trust Department. I think something like Jenkintown BAT or something, you know.
Well, that's good. I hope they have a drop-up window.
Yeah, I'll be coming back around.
The
Councilor.
drive-through window is actually where the kids are gonna be getting checked in and out.
I just have a question, and again, I'm sure this is covered in our code, but like here, like where are the windows for those apartments?
Oh, see the large glass windows right here?
These.
Yeah, so each
So that's
apartment
part of
will have a
it.
90-inch wide by 10-foot tall.
So that's
120
like-
inches, 10
That's
foot
like
tall.
half of those, like it's.
That whole upper window is the apartment.
Oh,
So you'll stand on, you'll be in your bedroom looking out the top part of the window,
wow.
and you'll be in your living room looking out of the bottom half of the window. It's just a wall of glass. It's no really, they're gonna be
I'm
so
so thinking about that, Gabe.
Everybody remember, there's a stenographic record being made, so one person at a time.
I used to bank at that bank. So they stand on the first floor, I guess when you bank. Are you gonna get rid of, like, are we losing some ceiling there, I guess? Is it?
So now it's 12 feet high, you don't look up
Okay.
40
and
feet in the air.
There was no fancy.
No, they in the 70s, they tore all that out. Unfortunately, no, it was just an old like 1970s acoustic tile awful ceiling.
That's what I think.
Yeah.
And Councilor Hancock.
I just got confused about how many apartments will be in the building total if it gets this approval.
11.
Okay. And just, what's gonna happen to the?
Don't happen to what?
The vault is an amenity room for the apartments.
Very cool.
And it will be sprinkler. We're just trying to figure out how to get the pipe through it. The vault, the big vault with the door that's like 6 feet wide. We're gonna, we'll have like a TV in there, some sofas, some chairs. Probably no cell service, but
And what about the roof? Is there gonna be any common area space?
there'll be some common area on the rooftop for all the tenants to take the elevator up.
Yeah, that looks like it would be very nice up there.
Yeah, it's very cool. Yeah.
You have city views there?
Not from, no, you'd have to go up to like the main neighborhood, but everywhere else we have city views, new building.
I've asked this of other developers, have you thought of condoing some of it?
No. That would be for whoever takes over the portfolio one day. I don't have the stomach for that. That's a lot.
Is that?
So
Yes.
if there are no other questions by council, I would suggest, Mr. President, you turn it over to the public if anybody in the public would like to provide public comment. If they do, I would ask they please provide their name and their address for the stenographic record.
Okay, is there any public from the comment from the public? Manager Locke, are you aware of any public comment on social media or by way of email?
I have none.
Okay, thank you.
So unless you've got anything further to present, Mr. Dean,
Nothing further.
so we'll admit B1 through B8, and we will close this hearing. Again, Mr. President, on your agenda tonight, or under the order of business, you do have a potential motion with regard to this conditional use application. If you'd like to take that at this time, while it's still on the stenographic record.
I would. I don't have verbiage.
Oh,
Yeah. Oh, yeah, you wanna go?
On the order of business, the 400 York Road conditional use 181-43B1. I make a motion to approve conditional use under section 181-41B1 of the Jenkintown zoning ordinance in order for S.J. Lustig, P.O. Box 2211, Jenkintown, PA, to construct 6 apartments on the newly constructed second floor of the existing building of 200 York Road.
before there's a second, Ms. Bruno, do you want to add not only the standard conditions, but that special condition with regard to Mr. Lustig will provide the landscaping as he had testified to?
Do I then,
If you're willing to accept it, just say, I'm happy to accept your amendment.
Oh, we need a second first.
Okay.
Second. Okay, motion and second, any comments, questions?
I think you said 181-41, but it's 43. Well, it's written in 43 on one and 41 on the other, so what is it?
You second it.
It
is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we need to just clarify it.
Don't sign it, right there.
Yep. I believe it's 181. 181, I believe it's 181-41.
181-41.
So the way Ms. Bruno had read it was correct, and it was just incorrectly typed on the order of business. Thank you for pointing that out. Sorry for the delay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Matters are please read forward a unanimous vote.
Mr. Dean, as you may or may not know, I write a full decision for all the applications. If it's all right with you, I'm not going to send you a day after letter. I think you know that you got the approvals, and you know you can go ahead and work with Manager Locke with regard to any permitting to go forward.
Absolutely.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you all. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Joanne, sorry, I didn't see it. I didn't see anything in that.
You know, I
Yeah.
know that you.
Mark, what do you write when we're all talking at once?
Everybody's talking on.
I get you.
Almost.
Probably Brown.
Did you capture public from the comments?
Okay, so we can move on to the reports. So engineers report, Cal Hassan with Company is with us.
Thank you, President Connors. Copy of my report should be in your packets. Just one highlighted project for you tonight. Pertaining to Cedar and Washington stormwater improvements. The contractor is expected to start mobilizing by the end of this week. And then the intent is to start construction on September 3rd, which is immediately after Labor Day. And with that, this concludes my report for tonight. I'll answer any questions you have for me or anything that you may have further down on the order of business or any updates needed by Manager Locke.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Solicitors report, Solicitor Hitchens.
Thank you, Mr. President. Our office continues to provide legal services on an as-needed and as-requested basis. Thank you.
Thank you. Mayor's report, Mayor Lerman.
Yeah, just a couple of things. I wanted to mention that State Representative Nelson is hosting a town hall tomorrow night at the library from 6:30 to 8 o'clock. That will be available virtually. If you RSVP through his office, you can get like a Zoom link or something similar. But you can also show up in person at the library. Representative Nelson will be attending virtually, though. His schedule had changed, but he did still want to proceed with the town hall. So that will be there tomorrow. I will plan to be there. I believe other members of council will be there as well. So come out and join and get some news about what's going on in Harrisburg for our district. And the other thing is just that we are heading back to school next week. So I know some of us who have kids are maybe happy that the summer is ending and maybe some of us lamenting that, but I'm sure that Chief Scott will talk about crossing guards and getting our kids to and from school safely. Thank you. That's it.
Great, thank you. Police chief's report, Chief Scott, and I do ask that once Tom's report is over, we will open it up to questions. So if you could just let him finish his report and then we'll ask him.
Thank you, President Connors. I do have copies if anyone wants an actual copy, but it was submitted for all of you to have electronically. Obviously, parking is a major issue within the borough right now. There's lots of promotional response to things that are going on. We have two diligent parking enforcement officers who are addressing violations throughout the borough. And we want to remind all of our residents about the current ordinances with permit parking, as well as parking against the flow of traffic and other state laws that are designed for public safety. The team is actually working with borough staff and also making suggestions to borough council on how to improve the ordinances and improve the language of the ordinances. And obviously, we're hoping that we will be conducting a public meeting. And George, do you got to present that now or?
You certainly, I think we have enough people that have committed to it, yes.
So we are announcing tonight, September 19th, Thursday, we'll be hosting a meeting to discuss parking enforcement and parking within the borough here at Borough Hall. It will start at 7 o'clock. We hope to address some concerns and also address any issues with improvements to the parking language that we have in our ordinances, and also discuss the future of parking and payment for parking in the future. With that, I will notify you all that obviously we have updated signage throughout the municipal lots to incorporate Park Mobile. We have discontinued the use of credit cards on our kiosks in the two municipal lots because of conflicting data that we're collecting, as well as also dealing with the transaction fees that are applied. So dealing strictly with Park Mobile for those transaction fees kind of minimizes our confusion. It also helps our enforcement officers to only have to go to one particular app to see if someone has paid via the automated version. Along those same lines, we've experienced significant amount of malfunctions with our kiosks. They are pretty much out of date with regards to their viability. You'll see on the items for consideration tonight, we had listed a possible replacement for those parking kiosks. But since we have received the dollar amount for those kiosks, and we are also looking at other options for the kiosks and whether to replace them or not, or to go completely to a Park Mobile option instead of having any coin operated or dollar operated machines. The reason being is because it was confirmed at a meeting that Manager Locke and myself were at with our current bank that they will not be accepting coins as of the end of the year. So we need to make a decision about that sooner than later to plan for the future, that we will not be collecting coins, and we'll probably phase out all the coin operated meters within the borough. That leads to the next discussion about the kiosks. And I think that's where we can answer questions regarding those and whether we want to replace them and the cost of maintaining them, the cost for the monthly fees with regards to the communication that they have to have. They have to have cellular connection. So, and that's all stuff that I can present to you that I think are important for you to decide. So leading on to the other things that we have issues with, I'm happy to announce that we have filled all of our crossing guard vacancies. We actually have 2 extras that will be helping us to fill in when we have any absences. We had our meeting today with all of the crossing guards, and they're excited about the year. They started excited to see the kids again. And they're the new staff are 2 people that have good ties to the community. They're former educators and current educators. So it's kind of a great situation that those 2 people have willing to come and help us out. The other 2 people, one is an actual retired police officer, looking for just a side gig to help out whenever he can. And then the other person came in after the fact, after we've always filled the vacancies, and we're willing to keep her on as a fill-in, and she's willing to help us out. I want to also commend Shauna Rivera, my admin assistant. She has done yeoman's work with regards to dealing with crossing guards, getting them all organized. She ran the meeting today, was very well prepared, got them all set up for the year and expectations for the year. And then most of her work has been with parking and dealing with the issues that we've had to deal with over the last 2 months with regards to our parking enforcement. I will bring to your attention, obviously, we are working with the DCED to look at an analysis of the police department and other emergency services within the borough. I want to make sure that everybody understands the misinformation that has been publicized with regards to the DCED. The DCED was not contacted by us. We were contacted by the DCED. So that misinformation was out there. It's not the truth. They contacted us when they saw the media coverage with regards to what we were dealing with regards to the publicity with regards to the police department. And it was 2 separate entities from the DCED. It was the financial portion that they will help and provide assistance to boroughs and municipalities with regards to financial background and making sure that they're sustainable into the future. That was the first part of the DCED that contacted the borough. We did not contact them. And then the second part was the emergency services portion. They contacted us. We did not contact them. So make sure I clarify that for everybody. We are still working to prepare for the Arts Fest. I kind of give the JCA a lot of credit. They have really organized their plan over the last couple of years. We've worked with them very diligently, and I think that this year's plan is going to work very, very well. On top of that, the JCA gave us $1,000 for our UHF portables that we'll be using during the event, and we'll be able to purchase another UHF portable to help out with communicating during the event. We continue to work with the borough administration with payroll processing, contract negotiations, dealing with pending grievances and legal matters, and also dealing with pension discussion. Obviously, we have presented to the council last month about the possibility that the governor had signed into law that officers may have the opportunity to pay or buy back previous time served. So we are looking at that option and getting the information from the actuary to make the right decision for our employees. I want to give credit to Public Works and Ford and Reagan's. They've been working together. We've been working together to develop mounting systems for our 2 solar powered speed signs that are going to be placed in the 400 block of York Road. We hope to have them up and functioning prior to the Arts Fest. We have one. We're going to be probably putting up within the next few days. And then we hope to have a second one up that will bring those signs down closer to the street so they're not 30 feet up and you can't see the actual speed. It'll be offset right at the speed sign, so you'll be able to see it better. And we'll be able to put out public notification messages through those signs, depending on what's going on within the borough. We are working through our policies and procedures to update them. And also we will be presenting to the public or to the council and to the PBA a new code of discipline policy That will be presented probably in the September committee meeting. And then I'm proud to have and happy to announce that we took on the responsibility of providing an internship to a Penn State Abington criminal justice student who's a senior, looking to fulfill her obligation to get those hours in. She has to do 200 hours of time, and she's going to be working with updating and replacing our policies and procedures, and also looking to help us out with a workload analysis for staffing requirements and a few other projects that we have. I will be happy to tell you that the new initiative that we had made commitment to with 2 hours of traffic enforcement per shift by the officers has made an increase in our calls for service, and you will see that in what I presented tonight. There's 938 calls for service for for the month of July. The majority of that increase is directly related to the officers going out and doing these traffic enforcement details.
Thank you, Chief.
We've completed almost all of our mid-year reviews of all the officers and are addressing concerns with encouragement to sustaining a good performance and also addressing issues where they may need to improve. We have planned for firearms training September 3rd and 5th next week at the county range. That is strictly for training purposes. It's not for a requirement by the county or by Municipal Police Officers Education and Training Commission. It's strictly to give the officers more hands-on training with regards to their firearms and make sure that they're tactically sound. We'll be doing some control tactics and defensive tactics in the months of September, October, and November. And I'm sad to say that Officer Ashley McHenry has decided to resign from the police department, but I'm happy to announce that she's accepting a full-time position as a police officer in Buckingham Township. So we want to wish her great success when she's up there. The other thing that I wanted to talk about is it was brought to our attention, the discussion about the 100 and 200 block of Washington Lane. I provided for you the speed study that we conducted on that location. We've had the sign out there for 2 weeks, 2 separate weeks. One was when the road was actually shut down between Wyncote and York Road. And also now we've done a full week's worth since the road has been open. You will see in there's a variety of different information from the enforcement priorities, the compliance risk report, this volume by speed, and also the volume by time. We timed almost 29,000 vehicles in the last month. It's probably about 2 weeks worth of material of evidence. The thing I'm happy to report is that our average speed is what I would consider within the degree of acceptable. It is a little bit above the 25-mile-per-hour speed limit, but the issue is that we are not allowed to enforce anything 5 miles and below. So we are under the 5-mile-per-hour limit for enforcement. We are actually not allowed to stop vehicles for anything less than 10 miles over because of the timing devices and the degree of error. We do not have radar, as I've said numerous times in the past, so we do not have the ability to go after anybody who may be a violation. You will see on the volume by speed declaration, it goes by the hours of the day, and the average speed for all those vehicles timed was 27.4 miles per hour. So that's pretty good for that stretch of roadway. We do see some anomalies with some areas where there are people that are speeding, and we will make sure that our officers are out there. Mainly, it was noticed by the equipment that it was a Saturday and Sunday, and it's usually late at night, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning, and 11 o'clock and midnight at night. But those speeds are, we only had 15 violators from all those 29,000 during that time. So you can see that. We will obviously be more than happy to share this with the public so that they can see what those signs are giving us with regards to analysis. We hope to, once we get all 4 signs up and running on York Road, we will look to see if we are going to get any benefit from the new enforcement strategies, and also analyzing whether those signs are doing anything to slow people down on York Road. I will tentatively tell all of council, but also the public. We were notified from PICO, that they will be conducting, a replacement of the gas main on York Road. It should be starting in the next couple of weeks. They are planning to do that work Monday through Thursday, every night from 8 PM to 6 AM. So there will be reduction in traffic flow, on York Road. They are trying to figure out their plan based on where the main is located and where they need to hook up or dig, in the roadway to replace the main. So that's tentatively, but they have given us a tentative date of when they're planning to start. I will answer any questions if you have any specific.
Councilor Saltisi.
With the traffic initiative and encouraging, ticketing more and being more aware of speeding, when our officers are doing that, they're not being, I'm assuming, correct me if I'm wrong, they're not being assigned specific spots to go. It's kind of at their discretion for where they're kind of deciding to look for speeding, and is it also at their discretion for times of the day? And just to kind of understand, I'm questioning that because I feel like when I'm on 611 Old York Road during more what I might consider like a commuter time, I'm always very cognizant of trying to go 25, and the aggressiveness of the drivers around me is really intimidating. And so I'm just wondering how often we're really trying to focus on even like our higher volumes of traffic times, because I have not seen an officer.
We are working with the officers to obviously let them and give them information about specific target areas. The majority of our accidents that happen on York Road are happening at York and West and York and Greenwood. So they are trying to focus a lot of their attention, but they are hitting some of the other red lights. Some of the officers are more proficient in speed timing than others. Our speed timing locations, if I will tell you during the day, it just seems like the traffic slows down significantly because of the volume. The early portions of the rush hour are when we're seeing those exorbitant speeds, and then at nighttime. So they are working to address those issues and hit those specific areas where we see those issues occurring, mainly in the 400 block of York Road. The lower end where we have speed timing lines, we do not see as many violators. I think it's mainly because of the close proximity of the lights. So as I presented to council, I believe if the development that occurs at 459, 471 York occurs, that signal that's there will probably significantly reduce the speeds. Because it'll be on the cycles with York and Greenwood, York and Rydell, and York and West. So fingers crossed, hopefully that works out. But we are addressing them as best we can. I'm very concerned about the future with regards to speeding and reckless driving once the SEPTA project starts. I believe that we will be inundated with traffic in our side streets. From the reduction in traffic flow on York Road. So we are trying to get a plan together to deal with that. I also think that having all the crossing guard positions filled allows our officers to be actively out in all the school zones and making sure that they're hitting all the specific areas around the school and where the kids are gonna be walking.
Councilor Khalil.
What is your report on this? What did you say?
I have, you want to see it?
You're welcome.
You want to talk about the kiosks? We can talk about them real quick. Just to give you an idea, huh? Huh?
Do you want to wait till it's an order of business?
That was good.
There's one thing on my report you haven't said yet.
Why are we doing that?
Oh, yeah.
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 You want to burn some money.
Tell me,
As the president.
what would you like, sir?
It's his
What
party.
do we?
Do you want to talk about kiosks now, or do you want to wait?
Oh, we can wait.
Thanks.
Yeah, I think we have numbers.
Next.
do it quickly.
Okay, thank you. Matters to report, Manager Locke.
Thank you, President Connors. I provided my report tonight, and I have copies here in case anybody would like a copy. I will answer any questions on it. There's a couple things I would like to highlight. We successfully renewed the insurance policies this month. I'd like to thank Counselor Soltesiak and Counselor Ballard for participating in that process. It was, it took us a couple months to go through it. We shopped it and we did the best we could with it. We did some cost saving measures, but there was still some increases. There was an increase in the fire department insurance that we had budgeted for. It was within that. Equated to about an $8,000 annual increase. We did expect that. The increase with the borough was related to the police department. It was a $40,000 annual increase, which was that was a big increase. That was larger than we had budgeted for or expected. And along with that, there was an increase of $50,000 deductible on the employment practices liability income directly related to the prior lawsuits from police department employees and the prior administration that the lawsuits that went on, they quoted a $260,000 loss. And due to that loss, we had an increase in the deductible, and we had 8 companies decline to quote us this year. So things are not looking good on that front. They did tell us 2 positives was that council did order the police study. We went through that. You hired a new chief who's following up on that police study. And while the lawsuits from the prior administration's lawsuits are clearing out, there's still one in process that is almost over. And she's hoping that that's going to be positive for us in our next renewal period. So we've done what we could in that regards. As the chief said, and we have an order of business, we're going to talk about the kiosk. We've worked with Park Mobile, T2, and we meet with Metric tomorrow, talking about the kiosk. There's big decisions to be made, whether to replace them or to go full electronic like Cheltenham and Abington have. I did hear the resident tonight ask a question, and we do have that information. She asked what Park Mobile charges. It's 50 cents per transaction. And Jenkintown Matters has filed a right to know for that contract, and I had to get the okay from the legal department of Park Mobile. It's in the contract, but they have okayed it, provided it, and I'm about to provide it to them. So I'm confident in talking about it tonight because I'm sure that'll be on Facebook, but it's 50 cents per transaction is what we pay them. And then there's no fee to the borough afterwards. Some of these other municipalities pay an 87-cent charge after that on each charge, but that's waived for us.
We do not pay 50 cents. The customer pays 50 cents.
That's correct. There's a 50 cents charge. But we do not pay it. Let's see here. The only other thing I wanted to clarify, the chief already touched on it. The accusation that has been made by Jenkintown Matters online that from my emails, they did a right to know with the state, and they think that I spoke with the DCED about the police study in February. For a year, I've been speaking with the DCED about financial assistance and a program called the STMP. And Counselor Marlowe and Counselor Bauer just sat through a webinar in the last 2 weeks, I think it was, on that program. And we're looking at that. And what that is, they can help you with different studies that you do. And there's a couple that interest us. We're rewriting our zoning code, a capital project study, capital planning, financial planning is all something that we've talked to them about. And it's an excellent program. They give you everything you need to put it out to bid. You put it out to bid, you pick your own consultant, and then DCED gives you at least 50% of what it costs in a grant. They usually cost about $40,000, these studies. So they would give you at least 50, and they expressed to us that it could be up to 75% if you approach them in the right manner. So we are definitely interested in doing that. We need capital planning, but we know we all need that and for our future. So that's something that we continue to do, and we've met with them on a couple of occasions, but it didn't have to do with the police study. That's just misinformation that's out there. And unfortunately, once it's out there, people either read it again or hear it or believe it, or I just wanted to reiterate that to council in case you had been unclear on that or somebody asked you about it. I think that's all I need to do. I think the chief covered everything else I have in my report, but if there's any questions, I'd be glad to answer them.
I have one comment that I'd like to add, if I can, about the insurance. Something that came up when we were reviewing the policies and talking about our renewals is when we're looking at the fire apparatus that, you know, the borough pays to insure all the pieces of fire equipment. You know, they're borough-owned properties, obviously. However, we also pay for things that are not borough-owned. The antique fire trucks that are owned by the firehouses, and they're not used in fire service at all. They are, you may have seen them in the parades. I know one gets decorated at Christmas. But when we look at our expenses, I think that it doesn't make sense for us to be paying to insure those anymore. We don't own the vehicles. We don't own those. They're not used for fire prevention, fire services at all. We asked the insurance agent to kind of break that out for us and let us know what that would cost. I think it's something, you know, that we can talk about. We have additional new expenses coming up with the firehouse. I mean, obviously we saw that our insurance policy went up. We have additional expenses coming up as the year progresses. If you remember, we need to get physicals, like medical physicals for our active duty firefighters. And that's going to be about $250 per firefighter. It's important that we do it for their safety. And this is something that's a new expense. It's not something that we have done before. It's done in all other municipalities, but not something that we've done before. So with, kind of with that in mind, and I don't have the number on the top of my head, and I
Approximately $1,400 a year.
$1,400 a year would be the cost. So I don't know what, and I did already reached out to the fire chief and I said that this was something that I wanted to talk about. I think that we should, but I don't know if we need to make a vote on it or what needs to happen, but I just wanted everyone to be aware that was something that was discussed when we were looking at the insurance policies.
You want to comment on that?
Sure, yeah, if anybody has any comments or anything they want to say.
I'm not sure what the right forum is for, but I think we should vote to authorize our manager to remove that from our insurance policy. Because George, you indicated that there was that's going to happen within the next month. The renewal of the policy. Is that right?
It's been renewed on August 8th.
So
They could be removed at any
Yeah,
time.
you can take them off.
We can't vote on it tonight, though, because we didn't have it on the agenda.
Oh, yeah.
We could just bring it to everybody's attention and then put it on the
Yeah, we can
agenda
put it
for
on
next month.
for next month workshop.
And you have brought it up before.
Yeah, I feel like it's something that we've talked about before.
About it. And then, so if we take it off, it should not be a shock to them. And if it is.
Well, I would think that we should definitely bring it up at the next workshop.
Absolutely,
So that the
yeah.
public can't accuse us of doing anything without there having
Yeah.
been full transparency. And then we could vote on it next month.
And Councilor Lewis.
Oh, sorry. For the record, would we be removing any specific coverage? I know for the antique vehicles.
We would just be taking the antique vehicles completely off the policy and saying, that the insuring them is in the hands of because each firehouse, that would, like, it's not like Independent owns all of them, or, you know, so to be saying it's your responsibility, not that.
So they would be insured
If they chose to, I mean,
They
they're their
chose.
vehicles, I mean, some, you know, sometimes the antique things, people choose to self-insure, I mean, that's completely up to them, what they choose to do, it's.
Yeah,
Their business.
yeah, because the reason I was asking is because if they were involved in some sort of accident, you wouldn't lie.
Well, we wouldn't, I mean, it's not, they own it,
Thank you.
yeah, it's not our property.
Okay.
Okay, so we'll have it on the agenda for. next
Sure,
month.
yeah.
Okay, anything else you wanted to add?
Williams texted me, it's locked out, like, it's.
Oh, Manager Rock.
We did have the one public comment from Ms. Thompson that we were supposed to get after the hearings, and we did. So she's waiting till after our reports to say her public comment.
Okay, so
That's okay.
she can say it now.
Before we get there, I just wanted to commend Manager Locke for correcting some of the misinformation that is out there in the community and that was spoken tonight at the meeting. So whenever you can do that, I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yes, you know, we should correct the $280,000 that they said, that I read something like that about the salaries of the parking enforcement.
Yeah, they were pretty excited to hear they were gonna get paid $260,000.
Chief, what is the, you know, are they making
Approximately
260,000?
50,000 for the two of them,
The two, thank you.
and they don't get benefits because they're part-time.
There was one other bit of
Yeah.
information that,
Excuse me?
What's up?
yeah, I got it, sorry.
Yeah.
I just wanted, I know you said this once before, Chief, but maybe it would be good to say it again, is that the parking and the step up in parking enforcement is because council really thinks it's important for our community safety, and it's not a way to raise money. So it would be great if you could explain that not all that, those parking tickets come to the borough.
I'm sorry. So the goal of parking enforcement is to correct behaviors.
Yes.
It is not for revenue generation. The goal is to try and make sure that everybody understands that we're trying to create traffic flow for the businesses, especially in the metered spots and the municipal parking lot areas. But then on the public streets, when you're parking in the opposite direction, it's a public safety violation. When you're parking next to the end of a street or in obstruction of a traffic control device, you are causing a public safety issue. The fire trucks can't drive and can't make turns on the streets when you're parking too close to the corner. When you're blocking someone's driveway, you're creating an incident where someone could accidentally hit your car, and now it's their fault, even though you violated the parking ordinance with regards to parking too close to a driveway. So all of that is what the officers are doing. We increased the amount of time that they have available to do it. Whereas before, our parking enforcement officer only worked 7:30 to 3:30 because of obligations for crossings and other obligations. So there was kind of limited amount of parking enforcement being completed. So we've expanded that, having two officers, and including Saturdays. It has helped to correct a lot of issues that were occurring with regards to complaints that we were receiving and also the violations that were occurring.
Thank you.
I guess one of the things, sometime in the past, there was a long post about aspects of the borough's budget that were all erroneous. And it didn't seem worth the time to really respond to it at that time, but now that we're going into the budget season, it might be good to, I mean, they're all pretty simple errors. I can take a crack at that. Saying what's actually true and what's not true.
Jenkintown matters.
Yeah.
Origin. Okay. Thanks.
Okay. Oh, Ms. Thompson, are you with us still?
Yes,
Ms.
can you hear
Thompson?
me? Can you hear me?
You her. I remember.
I'm waiting.
She typing?
No. He's on the computer. But that wouldn't be her. It's on her, unmute herself.
Maybe you could type to her just saying, when you return.
Jean, are you ready?
Yes?
Maureen says she could hear.
So why can't anybody hear me? I'll have to come in person next time
Got you now.
and read my letter.
We have
All
you
of
now.
you received a letter, an email from me at 5:35 p.m. today, including the Jenkintown School Board.
We can hear you now if you want to make your comments.
Can you hear us, Jean?
Yeah, I can hear you the whole time.
All right, we hear you, so go ahead and make your comment, please.
All right. 8:27. Okay. So I've been listening to everybody for 4 years, and I've been paying thousands of dollars for decades in taxes to Jenkintown and the school district. And my main complaint is the school district taxes. Why do they keep increasing them when the student enrollment is down by 100 students since 1970? They say Jenkintown School District is so great, but I've never seen a teacher stay afterward to help out a student or to tutor them. They recently hired 2 more people to do reports. Well, Jenkintown School District is not overcrowded. It's down by 100 students. Also, they're implementing a new educational system. They didn't even test it. They didn't pilot it in Jenkintown. With so few students, why are they even introducing something like that when there's a recession going on? Currently, Jenkintown School District is taxing me out of my house this year. I will be homeless, and I do not see the point in me paying for other people's children in education. I'm not paying for a private school, but apparently I am. This is a public school. They can, these teachers with degrees, master's degrees, doctorate degrees, they should be able to balance a budget. I used to take care of 53,000 people globally on their health insurance. And that was just one task of many that I used to do. So there's no excuse for 709 enrolled students for 2025. They're introducing new training programs for students when there's fewer students every year. And it's been the same for the past 3 years. 709, 710, 709. I already sent you my charts. I sent you my references. I don't make these figures up. I ask. I went to the Department of Education in Harrisburg and asked them for the values and where everything is happening. And still, the school district does not inform the parents that the school is not overcrowded. I hear parents during the meetings for the past 4 years in meetings say, oh, we're so afraid of having Jenkintown overcrowded. And it's nowhere near. If you look at the chart, you'll see it. Everyone in this meeting has my email. There's a lot more to talk about. Even with the tax rebate and the tax appeal, I can't afford $7,000 on Social Security. This is insane. And not only that, but you're more concerned about the children that not all of us have. We don't have, over 300 people living below poverty level in Jenkintown. The money spent on these children should be spent fixing the fire hoses. Because believe me, if your house burns down or part of it burns down, it'd be a lot more harmful than students getting a new educational program. In the past, I don't feel safe going to meetings at Borough Hall because I had former council members rudely make fun of me upon leaving the meeting.
Ms. Thompson, can you hear me?
Yeah,
Yeah, we have a 2-minute limit on public comment.
and I've listened to you guys for 4 years.
Right, so we appreciate your comments, everyone on
I want you to
council.
read my email and respond to it.
Okay,
Not just, I'm gonna tuck this away into my drawer. This
thank
is
you.
insane.
All right, I'm going to move on to, the order of business. If I can find my agenda.
And what am I gonna do when I lose my house? You tell me.
Mr. Manager Locke, can we mute this? Thank you.
Here.
Okay, I'm moving on to the order of business, number 1.
I bet the public bid. Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Are there any comments or? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Manager Locke, please record a unanimous vote. Number 4, Councilor Ballard.
Are we going to do?
Oh, wait,
No, you're right. Number 4.
all right. Number
We
4.
are going to
Table it.
table.
Yeah.
I don't think we're going to.
Yeah,
We would request that you table this one,
okay,
Counselor
so
Bauer.
we're gonna table it.
Oh,
Yeah.
I make a motion to table consideration of renewing the contract or creating a contract with T2 Systems. A Vera Mobility Corporation for the replacement of 3 existing parking kiosks in the existing municipal parking.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Are there any comments or questions?
I just have a comment. So when are we going to discuss this?
We can,
George is gathering
Once-
data
Once it's.
on sort of the number
You
of costs
can discuss it.
and, what the contracts are. And I think, once we have numbers, and we're also gonna have a public meeting to talk about parking issues. And I think, that will be a useful place and setting to frame what the issues are about kiosks with the public before we make a decision about whether to go forward with new kiosks.
Okay.
Um,
Is that-
that's my understanding of what we're doing, that we want to make the decision after the public has been engaged and informed.
But the public meeting will include parking topics other than kiosks.
We'll have
Yes.
Topics other
Oh,
than.
yeah, yeah, oh, yeah, yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
all right.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's gonna be a pretty freewheeling meeting.
Yeah.
But we need more information about the costs of different options about parking, whether it's park mobile kiosks and
Right.
other kinds.
Yeah.
We don't have that information.
Correct.
And I also heard the manager say that he needed to replace the T2 system because it's not working. Is that
Well, right now we have 3 metric systems that are at they're 14 years old. They need replaced. We spend a lot of time on maintenance. The chief's clerk is over there working on them as well as a public works guy every day. And we're paying for service from the company. They're shot and they need replaced. We've been shopping for kiosks and they're quite expensive. And I can't make the recommendation to make that move if council's unsure if we're gonna have, them in the future. You're gonna spend as much as $35,000 for three of them. And then it's $1,800 a year per unit for the extended warranty on them. So it's $6,000 a year after the first year for the three units. And it's just an added expense. If we're gonna end up going all electronic, it's an expense I wouldn't recommend going into right now. But we're meeting with the people that actually make the ones that we have now. Supposed to be significantly less cost. We meet with them tomorrow. So it'll be the third company that we met with, so we have a good range of pricing to bring to council for your decision. And also, we'll have more information for our meeting on September 19th that we're going to publicize for the public to come in and meet with counselors and the administration to discuss parking.
And part of the context is that Cheltenham
Yeah, I get it.
is
I get it.
going all Park Mobile, and so is Abington. I think Abington still has a few kiosks, but they're gonna phase those out.
Right
So-
now, essentially, we're all Park Mobile anyways, right? I mean, with the kiosks, even on the kiosks, there's a sign. that
You
says
can use Park Mobile at the kiosk.
You can use Park Mobile throughout the entire borough,
Right.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we're
we just still
essentially-
have the other options available.
Yeah.
David's
I
still
just
uses
don't wanna
theirs.
spend $35,000
No, right.
next month.
Oh, I-
If we,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, okay.
Forever.
I think I like the idea though, of also hearing with the public.
Mhm.
Maybe they really like kiosks and we're just not aware of it.
I don't think it's the residents who are gonna complain about it.
I don't think so either, but who knows?
That's true.
Been surprised before.
We do have a study coming from Park Mobile. It's gonna tell you where the people are coming from that are using Park Mobile.
Yeah.
They do have those analytics available to us, and they're gonna provide that to us. Council Ballard met with the representative with us. They have a bunch of information that they'll provide to us.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Madam Rock, please record your unanimous vote.
Thank you.
Cheltenham Township zoning appeal number 24-3763. I make a motion to authorize the borough solicitor to attend and present Jenkintown Borough as a party to the hearing at the Cheltenham Township Zoning Hearing Board on this matter.
Okay.
I have a motion and a second. Are there any comments or questions?
Sorry,
Lots of-
they know what it is, but
Did you want
did
to?
you want us to speak to it?
It's for Karen?
Yes.
So
We
we're
will-
not taking a position yet, but we're
No, we're
sending
just-
our
Yeah.
solicitor.
Authorizing the solicitor.
We received notice that the zoning hearing board will have a case before them for variance to allow construction in a flood zone, to build a new building for apartments, and to convert the building that's there now of offices to apartments. A total of, I believe, is 86 apartments. And we're asking council to send a solicitor to represent the borough, be a party to it, so we can make sure our interests are met with traffic and safety, the things that we can control in the project.
How about
Do
storm
you
water
need to
remediation,
add anything?
anything like that, please?
What I would probably be asking for from council is if you send me, are you sending me to outright oppose the application regardless? Or are you sending me to try to make sure, as George had said, that concerns related to traffic, stormwater are addressed to the borough's satisfaction, which would involve me talking to both George and probably to Cal in advance of the meeting, so I have a sense of what their concerns would be, so I can reiterate that at the hearing. I'm guessing it's the latter. Everybody's shaking their head with the latter. Okay.
Yeah, it looks like a pretty big project, so I doubt that, I expect it will be continued.
You never know.
Yeah, you never.
You never know.
But yeah, I went out
Could have been a parking garage.
take care the other day, and
It
it's a
could have
big.
been a
project.
parking garage.
Very heavily congested
That's
area
my own
to begin with, and for
I
them
know.
to build apartments there, it's just monumental to think that they're even gonna have more congestion there. I mean, really very bad there. Even the three of us can tell you that.
It's a large space, and I think if the owner of the property is probably not gonna just say, okay, forget it, I'll just eat the cost of that, you know what I mean? Development's gonna happen there. I think that my feeling is I want it to be something that is, good for us too. But development will happen there.
So, yeah.
People might all go shopping at the Giant.
Right.
Yeah.
I like to protest.
Buy their goods.
I'll protest.
Well, do you know, this, find out, but if there's
I don't-
to the, Drexel, the new Drexel University, is maybe renting apartments out for student housing?
I do not know. You,
It's a great guess. And I would probably agree with you.
Apartment, what did you say?
For student housing, because Drexel is now Solace, has changed to Drexel. And it's extremely close. And I know in the city, they take large buildings and they'll sprint it out by the semester and Airbnb them during the summer.
Alright, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Manager Lock, please record a unanimous vote.
Thank you.
Is there any new business or discussion that anyone wants to bring? Yeah, Counselor Pay.
Manager Locke.
Yes.
For the Riggins, could you remind us when the paving of Walnut Street will begin?
We do not have a date. Cal may know more than us on that, but we didn't get a date yet. The middle of September is what we're told.
Right, so I guess I thought it was coming soon.
It will be coming soon. The whole project should be completed before September, but the middle of September is an accurate date, yes.
Okay.
Can I ask one?
Oh, I think Joanne has.
Sorry.
Yes, Counselor Britton.
Yeah, I'm gonna bring up the issue, an issue that's been kind of plaguing me a while since the Chief Scott did his PowerPoint presentation on public safety. In the township, we have been very grateful for all the work that Public Works does all the time. And I would like to suggest that maybe we look at the salary compensation, since according to that PowerPoint presentation, compared to Springfield, Abington, and Cheltenham, our public works people are underpaid. And since it's budget time, I want to bring it up as something I hope that we will consider.
Me too.
Yes.
Mr. President, I don't know why it slipped my mind. I believe our firm actually represents the zoning hearing board for Cheltenham Township, in which case I cannot represent you and no one from my firm can. Therefore, you would send your designated conflict counsel. Yeah, that's correct. Rudolph Clark is your designated conflict counsel. So Manager Locke will communicate with Rudolph Clark to make those arrangements.
So that's our sister.
Yeah, they are still your solicitor. I just wanted you to be, I will not be there and I can't talk to you about it. I'm sorry.
It's fine now.
Yeah.
All I can tell you is do something about stormwater management.
And Counselor McCaffey had something.
I'm just reading, there was a person that put a lot of comments on Facebook. One of them that I think is just the easy one is, how long can somebody speak at, public, at the public time for people to speak? Public comment. I'll just defer to you if there's a legality, if it's just Robert rules.
So, Mr. President Connor said I announced it was 2 minutes at the
Correct.
beginning. So it was 2 minutes that people had to speak tonight at public comment.
Right, because it's his call.
He announced that's what it was. So-
Correct. Okay.
I could bring it down to 30 seconds.
Well, we could have we can discuss that if that's all right, Mr. President. I would probably not recommend that you do that.
And for clarification, it was that for everyone, not just one person.
Correct, but if I recall correctly, nobody who was giving public comment tonight was cut off except for Ms. Thompson, and she, by my account, had exceeded far beyond 3 minutes in speaking. So nobody was cut off at the 2 minute
People
mark.
are looking to find. That's what people are doing. So if I say it's 2 minutes, it's 2 minutes. If I say it's a minute and 30
get that.
seconds, it's a
I'm not
minute and 30
arguing with you.
Yeah.
I Googled it myself, so I knew the answer before I asked you. I just wanted it out there for public comment.
I'm happy to talk to anyone in person about that too, so.
We done?
Is there any more new business or discussion to bring forward? Okay, motion to adjourn. Okay.
Thank you.